Am I the idiot for lying to my fiance about how my first divorce really went down? I, 34F, have been with my fiance, 40M, for 6 years now. He proposed a year ago and we were looking at a small October wedding. Before I was with my fiance, from 21 to 26 I was married to my ex-husband, 34M. Those were some of the happiest and worst years of my life. My ex was the most attractive guy I had ever met, and even now he looks like a 24-year-old instead of an almost 35-year-old. However, we were stuck in dead-end jobs because we were both high school dropouts living in Alabama. We were creatives who wanted to save money to move to New York or LA, but never had any money. We both worked in service positions, but I felt that most of the people who walked in the doors were just idiots. I grew to hate serving them, and this reflected in the tips and performance reviews I got. Meanwhile, my ex would get mad at me not showing up to work and saying the people I served deserved basic respect from me. I ended up quitting my job and my ex made me take the job at the hotel where he worked. And I got more depressed because I felt life was passing me by and my ex expected us to accept our life was just going to be about work. We got into more fights about how he had to convince the manager to not fire me. Finally, I got so depressed that I started talking to a friend of mine who was a nightclub dancer in Atlanta. I took a train there and tried out. I was ashamed to tell my husband that I was doing this behind his back and didn't want to face his anger over me quitting the job he got me. So one day I just packed up and left. My ex filed for divorce and listed abandonment as the cause. We only had $2,000 in assets. To settle the divorce, my ex mailed me a check for $900, assumed our credit card debts, and that was that. He has never contacted me again, so I assumed he was not hurt. I eventually became a hospital receptionist and met my now fiancé, who is a radiologist. I told him about being divorced once, but said that we grew apart, and then sat down and amicably worked out a divorce. My fiancé replied it was a mature decision that spoke well to my character. I thought that the omission of detail was far from evil. I was not unfaithful or abusive. However, in the midst of announcing our engagement, a friend of my ex resurfaced and he was able to contact my fiancé without my knowledge. From there, my fiancé dug up information about my divorce, including the fact I was accused of abandonment by my ex. He even talked to former friends of mine. He finally confronted me and said that I lied about how I ended things with my ex and called me cold. He said that this gave him cold feet about who he was marrying and that he wanted to postpone the wedding indefinitely. I am heartbroken. He's now staying somewhere else and says he needs time to think. We had an argument where I was angry he invaded my privacy about something that happened a decade ago. I have been supportive of his career and stuck around for 6 years waiting for him to be ready to commit. I hate the fact that Alabama divorces are public record and he's using that to defend his actions. Comment 1. I don't think it's fake. There are too many people that I know like this in real life that completely lack any sense of how reprehensible their behavior is and always somehow end up the victim in situations that they curated. Comment 2. Damn it, Alabama. Making divorce records public and ruining my marriage. Real talk, a lot to unpack in this one. Ick the whole story with the ex, but the details shared that's usually showing yourself in the best light are showing you in a terrible one, OP. You are the asshole for doing that with your marriage. You knew you were, and that's why you lied to your new fiancé about it. You then built a relationship around this lie, and now you're crying because the truth was found out and he didn't like being lied to about something extremely crucial to know about how you handle relationships. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my husband I would divorce him if he doesn't help more with house chores and our 1-5 toddler? My husband works from 5 in the morning to 5 in the evening, Ada for asking him to help with the baby and house chores when he comes home from work, or I will divorce him. I work from home and take care of our 1-5-year-old during the day. We make about the same amount of money. I do 90% of the childcare, house cleaning, and cooking. He thinks his job is more stressful than me taking care of the baby and working at the same time, and because of this he shouldn't have to do much when he gets home. We argue about this weekly. When I said this will lead to divorce if he doesn't step up, he got mad and told me good luck, thinking I would have more free time, because statistically single moms have a harder time than single dads. Edit. My husband, 30M, doesn't have a physical job, he works in the office. His commute is 20 minutes. My job, 29F, consists of mostly online work, with a couple days a month having to go in the office. I work around 4 hours a day. I can work more than that, and of course that would come with a pay increase. I am hoping to be doing that in the next couple of months. I don't have an issue watching our son during the day. My job is flexible and easy enough to do it while I watch him. I only asked for help in the evenings so I can make dinner or do laundry, etc. If the husband watches the baby in the evening, they will watch cartoons or videos on his phone. For all the people saying my husband is having a full-time job providing for a full-ass woman, again, we make the same amount of money right now. And I do have the potential to make double what I make now, as soon as I have the time to take on extra responsibilities. Comment 1. Personally, if he's doing 12-hour days and the same as your 4-hour days, I'd tell him to cut his hours down. You up your hours, be better off financially and time-wise. Money doesn't equal time, and 12-hour days is a lot. That being said, you shouldn't have to do everything alone. I think this is a problem that could be fixed. And if him doing less hours didn't fix it, then he is 100% the problem. Comment 2. OT only that, but being responsible for every other aspect of their life as a family. From keeping house, to cooking, cleaning, never having a moment away from a toddler, etc. I totally get that 12-hour shifts are horribly draining. My husband does them regularly, on his feet in a hot kitchen as an executive chef. He still helps me with the household chores whenever he can, and I work much less. I have terrible sleeping problems and a plethora of health problems that come with it, so he will go out of his way to take care of our pet in the morning while getting ready to make sure I have even in 10 extra minutes of sleep. I know when we have children, he will be an amazing father, even with his long days. Of course, I will definitely try and do more of the housekeeping while I'm not working so he doesn't have to, but if I can't manage because of my dumb brain or exhaustion, he never argues that he's tired from work, when he has every right to, honestly, or that he makes more than me, which he does. He just helps. Not saying I would complain if he pulled the "I'm too tired today" every so often, but the OP's husband is pulling it every time. I'm not saying that office work isn't exhausting, especially mentally, but it's definitely a different type of exhausting to be taking care of a child as well as every chore on your own. NTA op. Are there better ways to go about it? Sure. But sometimes people need to hear you're at your wit's end, so they actually start giving a hoot. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for threatening to divorce my wife if she doesn't discipline her son? I, 45M, am married to my wife, 47F. We both have teen sons from previous relationships, her son Noah, 14, and my son Spencer, 15. Spencer's biological mom, my ex, is a deadbeat who doesn't pay her child support and hasn't spoken to Spencer in years, while Noah's biological dad is very involved in Noah's life and takes him every other week. Noah's dad also makes a fair bit more money than either me or my wife, and this leads to Noah having nicer things than Spencer. Noah has a fairly new iPhone while Spencer has an old model with a cracked screen. Noah's dad has promised to pay his way through college, while Spencer works 2 part-time jobs, by his choice, to start saving up, but will still probably have to take out loans. Most relevant to our current problem, Spencer wears almost exclusively secondhand/thrifted clothes while Noah's dad buys him department store/name brand clothes. Because of the difference in the way the two boys dress, Noah has taken to making fun of Spencer for looking like a hobo, like he crawled out of a gutter, and like trailer trash. Just nasty, unnecessary, and in my opinion very classist insults. It's not like Spencer doesn't put effort into his appearance either, we just don't have the money to fill his closet with $30 t-shirts and $75 pairs of jeans. Now, Spencer has a bit of a temper and the difference between his things and Noah's things is a sore spot. As a result, the boys have gotten into several shouting matches and one major physical altercation. Spencer is tall for his age and Noah hit puberty late, so it was more of a beatdown than a fight, though no one went to the hospital. I've spoken to my wife multiple times about disciplining Noah, but she insists that he's just doing it to get a reaction out of Spencer, and the solution is for Spencer to stop falling for it, rather than any consequences or even a strong conversation for Noah. I may have accepted this if Noah was in elementary school, but he's a teenager and a teenager need to at least be told not to antagonize his stepbrother who he knows has outbursts. I've tried to talk to Noah myself, but he just says, "You're not my dad, you can't tell me what to do." And yes, I have talked to Spencer about keeping his temper in check, but at this point, it's not his fault when he's constantly being demeaned for something he has no control over. After the aforementioned physical incident, I gave my wife an ultimatum: discipline Noah or I'm leaving. I told her that I couldn't keep my son in a home where he's constantly on edge because she refuses to parent her son. I told her that, as a step-parent, I have little authority over Noah, so it's on her to set him straight. She asked me if I was seriously considering divorcing her over the way she parents her son, and I said yes. That this isn't about her, but about protecting my son from Noah's bullying. She told me I was being manipulative and that threatening divorce over every little thing is abusive. I tried to explain that this isn't a little thing, and she just told me to give her a few days to think things over, and I agreed to give her a week before I would contact a lawyer. Comment 1. Yes, I totally agree. Any attorneys she has met with or talked to first, you can't use either. Get ahead of this and find a good one before she blocks you from good representation. Once they have met with one party, to hear them out, they have a conflict of interest. Beat her to the punch even if you don't end up divorcing, though you honestly should. Comment 2. Yeah, why would she need a few days to think it over? It's weird. Be a better mom ASAP. Not later this week.